The wind tasted of salt and sun-warmed stone, and it carried the city's breath up to the balcony like a living thing. Below them, thousands of domes glowed in honey and clay colors, and far beyond, the dark fortress rose like a shadow carved into the horizon. Queen Cirith stood in profile, still as a statue, her skin the color of deep ocean light, her crown heavy with gold and old vows. She lifted her right hand, palm open toward the sprawling metropolis, as if she could hold the entire world on her. Fingers beside her stood Rowan, a human in dark armor, broad-shouldered, quiet, his gaze fixed on the same distant line where mist hid the castle's teeth. From the streets below came a faint roar of chanting. Not joy, not grief, something sharper, something hungry. They were chanting her name, but not like a blessing, like a demand. Rowan's voice was low, steady. They are waiting for you to fail. Cirith did not turn. Her eyes remained on the skyline. They have waited a long time. A pale green shimmer drifted across the bright sky, thin as silk, like an aurora remembering it was once a storm. Rowan watched it, then her. It is stronger than yesterday. Cirith's jaw tightened. The stars are listening, Rowan exhaled. Stars do not listen. Cirith finally looked at him, and the jewels in her crown caught the sunlight like tiny blades. On my world, they do. A sharp cry rose from inside the palace behind them. A servant's scream cut short. Rowan's head snapped around, his hand moving toward the weapon at his side. That came from the hall. Cirith's expression did not change, but the muscles in her throat moved as she swallowed something bitter. They are beginning. Rowan took a step closer, voice urgent. Say the word and we run. We can reach the eastern gate in minutes. Cirith's eyes flicked down to the city again, then up to the sky, as if she was weighing earth against infinity. A queen does not run from her own oath. Rowan's brow furrowed. You have not sworn anything yet. Cirith's lips parted, and for a heartbeat, she looked younger than her crown, younger than her wars. That is the problem. The chanting below rose again, louder now, as if the crowd sensed blood before it spilled. They were not just waiting for her speech, they were waiting for her collapse. Cirith lowered her hand slowly, and the gold bracelets on her wrist clinked like soft chains. My court demands a vow that I cannot speak. Rowan studied her. Because it binds you. Her gaze snapped to his, and in her eyes he saw a warning and a plea. Because it will kill the one I must protect. Rowan's stomach tightened. Me. Cirith's silence was answer enough. For 3 months, he had been the human envoy, the living proof that the enemy could breathe the same air, eat the same food, stand on the same stone without bursting into flame. For 3 months. Every smile had been measured, every handshake had been watched. Every word had been weighed like poison, and now, on the day the alliance was meant to be sealed, the palace had turned into a blade pointed at his throat. Rowan glanced toward the wide doors behind them, the corridors that led to the Hall of Echoes, where the council waited with polished masks and sharpened laws. He spoke carefully. What vow do they want? Cirith's voice dropped even lower. The celestial binding. Rowan felt the name like ice. The one that makes a queen a mouthpiece. For the priesthood, Cirith nodded once, almost imperceptible. A vow that speaks through me. A vow that turns my will into their weapon. Rowan's hands curled into fists. Then do not speak it. Cirith's gaze drifted to the city again, and her face softened with a sorrow he had learned to recognize. The sorrow of someone who has been praised as strong for so long that no one remembers she's allowed to break. If I refuse, they will call me traitor. They will call you infestation, and the streets will become a river. Rowan's throat tightened. You are the queen. You can command them. Cirith let out a small, humorless breath. A crown is not a shield, Rowan. It is a target that never sleeps. Another cry echoed from inside. Closer now, boots pounding, metal clashing. Rowan's eyes widened. They have started early. Cirith's voice sharpened. They will bring you to the hall in chains, and they will force me to swear while you kneel, so that the vow can taste your fear and feed on it. Rowan's heart hammered. Then we do what we planned. We leave. Sirith's gaze snapped back to him, fierce now. And abandon my people to the ones who want war, Rowan swallowed. Then what do we do? Sirith's shoulders rose with one steady breath, then fell, and she looked up at the pale green streaks in the sky as if she was speaking to something older than language. You once told me a human oath is different, Rowan blinked. I told you humans swear too. Yes, Sirith stepped closer, and the scent of metal and incense clung to her. Not like ours, Rowan's voice was cautious. Human oaths are. Not magic, Sirith's eyes flashed. Everything is magic if enough lives depend on it. Rowan opened his mouth to answer, but a squad of palace guards poured onto the balcony. Armor gleaming, spears angled forward, faces tight with duty or fear. At their center strode High Adjudicator Varen, tall, thin, eyes like polished stone. His ceremonial sash bright as fresh blood. His smile did not reach his eyes. Your Majesty, Sirith did not move. Adjudicator. Varen's gaze slid to Rowan, cold, dismissive. Human. Rowan stood straighter. I am Envoy Rowan Hale. Varen ignored the name as if it was dust. The council summons you both to the Hall of Echoes. The people gather. The stars. Watch, let us not keep destiny waiting. Rowan felt the guard's attention tighten around him like a net. Sirith's voice was calm, almost gentle, and that frightened Rowan more than anger would have. Does destiny arrive with spears? Varen's smile widened by a fraction. Destiny arrives with law. He lifted a hand, and two guards stepped toward Rowan, chains in their hands. Rowan's breath caught, but he did not reach for his weapon. Not yet. One wrong move and the balcony would become a slaughterhouse. Sirith's voice cut through the air, quiet but edged. Stop. The guards hesitated, not out of respect, but because every creature in the palace had been taught to fear the way her voice could turn to flame. Varen tilted his head. Your Majesty, the ceremony requires the human to kneel. Sirith's eyes flicked to the chains, then to Rowan's face. And something in her expression broke open. A crack in stone. Rowan saw it clearly. She was not afraid of death. She was afraid of failing. He stepped forward before the guards could close, placing himself at Sirith's side, and spoke loudly. Enough for all to hear. No chain will make an alliance holy. Varen's eyes narrowed. You presume to speak in our rights. Rowan met his gaze. I presume to breathe. A few guards shifted uncomfortably, as if the human's defiance had reminded them that fear could be contagious. Sirith raised her hand again, palm open too. The sky and her bracelets chimed once, a tiny, clear sound that cut through the distant chanting. She spoke to Varen, but her eyes stayed on the stars. You want an oath, Adjudicator. Varen's smile returned. We want your oath, the celestial binding, spoken under the witness of the heavens. Sirith nodded slowly, and Rowan felt his blood run cold. Then she said, I will swear a different vow. The guards froze. Varen's smile faltered. There is no different vow. Sirith's voice grew stronger. The kind of strength that did not shout, but made everyone else sound smaller. There's always a different vow when truth is at stake. Rowan turned to her, whispering through barely moving lips. Sirith, if you do this wrong, they will use it against you. She finally looked at him, and her eyes were shining, not with tears, but with something that hurt more, hope that had learned to be cautious. Tell me the words. Rowan swallowed. What words? Sirith's voice trembled. Once, then steadied. The human oath you spoke of. The one your people use when they choose duty over fear. Rowan's mind raced. He remembered telling her stories in the quiet hours. Stories of courts and soldiers, of promises said out loud so the world could hold you to them. He remembered her listening like someone starving. Not for power, but for clarity. Rowan breathed in and spoke softly to her. It is not a spell, Sirith, she answered. Then let it be a mirror. Varen took a step forward, irritation sharpening into threat. Your Majesty, you will proceed with the binding, or you will be removed from your throne. Sirith did not look at him. She looked at Rowan. Please. Rowan's chest tightened. And he realized in that moment that she was asking him to give her a weapon that did not exist in her world. Something clean, something simple, something that belonged to people who believed words could matter without blood. He nodded once, slowly. All right. Rowan turned slightly, positioning himself so the guards and the adjudicator could hear, so the balcony could become a stage, and the sky could become a witness. He spoke clearly. In my world, an oath is a promise you give without tricks, without hidden claws. It is a promise that binds you because you choose it. Cirith inhaled, and her fingers trembled as if she was about to touch fire. Rowan continued. You say what you will do, and you say it so everyone can hold you to it. Viren's voice snapped. Enough. Cirith's voice rose over his, and it was the first time Rowan had heard her sound like she was not speaking as a queen, but as a person. Then I will choose. She lifted her chin, the crown catching sunlight, and she spoke to the sky as if it was a living council. I swear, she began, and the entire balcony seemed to hold its breath. Rowan heard the city below quiet, as if the crowd had sensed something different, something dangerous. Cirith's voice rang out. I swear by my life, by my crown, and by the breath in my lungs, that I will protect the innocent, that I will speak the truth even when it burns, that I will not use fear as a throne, and that I will treat every ally and every stranger with the dignity of a living soul. Varen hissed. That is not the binding. Cirith's eyes stayed lifted. Her voice grew steadier, brighter. I swear that no child will starve in my streets while my halls shine. I swear that no war will be declared in my name without my own consent. I swear that the human envoy at my side will leave this world alive, and that any who harms him will answer to me. At the word answer, the pale green streaks in the sky brightened. Rowan felt it, not as light, but as pressure. Like the world had leaned closer, the guards shifted, glancing upward, unease rippling through them. Viren's face tightened. Stop this. Cirith's voice turned sharp, and for the first time she looked at Varen directly. No. The single word hit the air like a hammer, and Rowan saw the guards flinch. Cirith lifted her palm higher, fingers spread wide. I swear this vow openly, freely, and without coercion. Let it be heard by my people. Let it be heard by my enemies. Let it be heard by the stars themselves. The sky answered, not with thunder, not with fire, but with a sound Rowan felt in his bones, a deep, resonant hum that rolled across the blue like a hidden choir waking from sleep. The pale green light above them thickened into ribbons, brighter, more defined, weaving patterns that looked almost like writing. Rowan's breath caught. Cirith. Her eyes widened, and for the first time, the queen looked stunned. The light gathered, focused, and a single beam dropped from the heavens like a thread pulled tight, landing on the balcony stones a few steps in front of them. The stone did not burn. It glowed, as if the balcony remembered it had once been part of a mountain under starlight within. The beam, shapes formed, not a body, not a face, but symbols, lines and curves that moved like thought. Varen stumbled back, his composure cracking. Impossible. The guards fell to one knee without knowing why, their spears clattering against stone. Rowan stood frozen, every hair on his arms lifted. A voice spoke, but it did not come from the beam. It came from everywhere, from the air, from the city, from the crown on Cirith's head, from the blood in Rowan's veins. It spoke in Cirith's language first, then in Rowan's, as if it had always known both. Oath received, the voice said, calm and immense. Oath accepted. The chanting from below erupted into screams, not fear alone, not joy alone. Awe. Raw and uncontrollable. Rowan whispered, what are you? The voice answered, we are the witness. Cirith's lips parted, her voice barely held together. The stars are alive. We are not stars, the witness replied. We are what your stars were built to remember. Varen's face had gone pale, and in his eyes Rowan saw something terrifying. Not hatred, but panic. Varen spat. This is blasphemy. This is a trick of the human. The witness replied without emotion. False. Varen's gaze darted to Rowan, then to Cirith, and Rowan finally understood. The adjudicator had not expected her to swear freely. He had expected the binding. He had expected control. Cirith's voice rose, shaking but resolute. Witness, if you hear me, then hear this too. My people are divided. My council seeks to bind my will. My city stands on the edge of blood. The witness paused, as if listening to the heartbeat of the planet itself. Then spoke. We have listened for a long time. Rowan's mind spun. You have been here. The witness answered, here and elsewhere. Dormant until called by the old trigger, the free oath. Cirith's eyes flashed with sudden understanding. An oath without coercion. Yes, the witness said. A vow spoken freely is the key. It proves intent. It proves choice. It proves soul. Varen snarled, and in that snarl Rowan heard defeat turning into desperation. Guards, seize them. Seize them now. The guards hesitated. Torn between their adjudicator and the sky itself, Varen's hands rose, and Rowan saw a small device in his palm. Black metal etched with pale lines, a relic. Rowan's stomach dropped. Cirith, he has a void key. Cirith turned sharply. Varen, do not. Varen's eyes burned. If I cannot rule through you, then I will rule through ashes. He pressed the device. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the distant fortress on the horizon, the colossal shadow in the mist, pulsed with a sickly darkness, like a bruise spreading across the sky. The green aurora flickered, strained. Rowan heard the city below erupt in terrified cries. A black line split the air above the domes, thin at first, then widening. A tear in the daylight itself, cold poured from it. Cold so deep it felt like the absence of life. The witness spoke, and for the first time its voice carried urgency. Void breach detected. Cirith's eyes widened. He is opening the old weapon. Rowan's voice shook. That fortress is not a castle. It is a gate. Varen laughed, wild, shaking. Let the stars judge you now, Queen. Let them answer this. The tear in the sky widened, and within it Rowan saw nothing, not darkness, not shadow, nothing. A hole where meaning should be. Cirith stepped forward, placing herself between Rowan and the guards, between the city and the void. Her voice rang. Witness, you accepted my oath, then honor it. The witness replied, state your command. Cirith's hands trembled, but her posture did not. Protect my people. Rowan grabbed her wrist gently. Cirith, if you bind yourself to it, you may not survive. She looked at him, and in her eyes he saw love that had been forced to wear armor. Then let my survival be less important than my promise. Rowan's throat tightened, and he realized he was watching a queen become something rarer than a ruler. A protector. Cirith lifted her palm to the sky again, and her voice turned fierce. I swore to protect the innocent. I swore to speak truth. I swore no one would use fear as a throne. So I will not let this void touch them. The witness spoke. One word, and that word was not loud, but it shook the world. Confirmed. The green aurora above them surged, becoming brighter than day, the patterns tightening into a vast geometry that stretched from horizon to horizon. Rowan felt a pressure in his chest, as if the air had thickened into holy water. The tear in the sky trembled, and the darkness inside it writhed like it hated being seen. Varen screamed, No, no, you cannot. Cirith turned to him, and her voice cut like steel. You wanted a binding. Adjudicator, you will have one. You will be bound to the consequences of your own choice. The witness responded. Oath enforcement initiated. Light descended, not one beam now, but many fine and precise spears of radiance that stabbed into the air on the palace, into the streets, into the far horizon. Rowan watched in stunned horror as the darkness from the fortress tried to spread, then stopped, as if it had hit an invisible wall. The aurora flared, and the void tear began to close, slowly at first, resisting, screaming without sound. The cities. Cries shifted, fear turning into hope, then into disbelief. Varen dropped to his knees. clutching the void key, his hands shaking. It was supposed to obey. Cirith stepped toward him, and the guards finally moved, not to seize her, but to seize him, as if their bodies had finally remembered where loyalty belonged. Rowan watched Cirith's face, the strain growing, the light above reflecting off her skin, off her crown, off the tears that finally broke free and slid down her cheek. Silent, he whispered, "You are bleeding." Cirith's lips moved, but her voice stayed strong. A promise cost something, Rowan. Rowan's hands rose, hovering near her shoulders, not touching yet, like he was afraid she might shatter. "Do not die on your own balcony." She turned her head slightly, and the smallest smile touched her mouth. "Then do not let me." The void tear shrank. The fortress on the horizon dimmed, the sickly pulse fading like a nightmare losing its grip with a final silent convulsion. The rip in the sky sealed, and the daylight snapped back into place, clean and bright. The aurora remained, calmer now, drifting like ribbons of blessing across the blue. The witness spoke again, softer. "Threat. Contained." Rowan exhaled shakily, his knees weak. "You saved us," the witness replied. "She saved you." Her vow triggered what was built to protect those who choose truth freely. Cirith's shoulders sagged, and Rowan caught her as her strength finally slipped, her crown tilting slightly, her braids brushing his arm. The guards rushed forward, but stopped when Rowan raised a hand, his voice firm. "Give her space." They obeyed, because something had changed, not law, not rank. Something deeper. Cirith's eyelids fluttered, and she whispered, "Did they hear me?" Rowan leaned close, voice gentle. "The whole sky heard you." Cirith's lips trembled. "And my people." Rowan looked over the balcony. Down at the vast city, the streets were packed, but the chanting was different now, not hungry, not cruel. It rolled upward like a tide of gratitude, a single word rising again and again. Queen. Not demanded, not threatened, given. Cirith's eyes filled again, and she inhaled carefully, as if each breath was a choice. Then it was worth it. Varen was dragged away, screaming curses that sounded small under the open sky. Rowan watched him go, then looked back at the far horizon where the fortress gate had lurked like a secret. He felt the weight of what had happened. The galaxy was not quiet, it had been sleeping, and now it had opened one eye. The witness spoke one last time, but only Rowan and Cirith seemed to hear it clearly. "The oath is active," it said. "The Queen is recognized." Rowan's pulse quickened. "Recognized by what?" the witness answered. "By the ancient network." Cirith's eyes narrowed with exhausted focus. "What network?" the witness replied. "The one seated by your human ancestors across the stars. The one designed to answer free will with protection. The one your priesthood tried to bury under fear." Rowan's breath caught. "Humans built this." The witness corrected him. "Humans began it, others finished it. All who believed in choice maintained it, until fear silenced the trigger." Cirith swallowed, her voice barely above a whisper. "And now it is awake." "Yes," the witness said. "And others will notice." Rowan felt a chill, not from the void, from possibility. Others. The witness offered no comfort, only truth. Those who rule through coercion will fear what has awakened. Those who hunger for conquest will come to test the oath. Cirith straightened slowly in Rowan's arms, pain etched into her expression, but her eyes were bright with a fierce, steady fire. She looked up at the sky again, at the lingering green ribbons, and whispered, "Then let them come." Rowan stared at her, stunned by her courage, by the way she held grief and power in the same hands. He spoke softly. "You just made yourself the loudest signal in the galaxy." Cirith turned her head, meeting his eyes, and her voice became a vow again, intimate and unbreakable. "Then stand with me." Rowan nodded, his voice firm. Always. Below, the city roared, and above, the stars kept their quiet watch. No longer distant lights, but witnesses to a promise that could not be forced, only chosen. Cirith lifted her hand one more time, not to command, but to greet the sky, and the aurora brightened, gentle as a blessing, as if the heavens were answering again, not with power this time, but with approval. Rowan held her steady, and for the first time since he arrived on this world, he believed they might survive what was coming, because the Queen had sworn a human oath, freely, openly, and the stars had answered. And somewhere beyond the horizon, beyond the sealed gate, beyond the fog, something else had turned its attention toward the planet, something that had heard the same answer and did not like it.